Hey folks, welcome back to Let's Play Lost Odyssey on the Mysterious JG. You missed like a second of content because something went a little goofy when I tried to start recording the last video. Um, so Seth here kind of stared dramatically into the middle distance, then looked up and I think she said? I don't know, but my intro that I just lost was me talking about how, we broke off the last video on fear of a memory, but we won't be able to escape forever. Let's bravely face it together. Maybe it'll be memories of Seth's. And I think it is, but you also missed her saying said, and I have no idea what her line delivery was like, because the reason I stopped it is I wasn't getting game sound, and there was something wrong. So let's hope I've got game sound now, or else I don't know. Okay, I got game sound. Said's dead, baby. I don't know if that's true. A dream has been revealed. I don't really have a good Seth voice. She's just got a toxic generic woman, or me doing a generic woman voice. But I guess I'll try it. O wondrous beast in area, proud descendant of the white-winged clan, you alone were my irreplaceable companion. Would it anger you to hear me call us two of a kind? Were we not in fact a perfect combination, you and I? Bound together by a single thread, that gossamer thread we know as loneliness. Her memories might be a little less depressing than Seth's. They might even be relevant to the plot. Anira, I owe my life to you. Not, of course, that you saved my life in the ordinary sense of the word. Mine is not a life that can be lost under any circumstances. It is an irrevocable burden. I will not die. I cannot die. And therefore, my life was not for you to save. Pardon me, folks. Like all quality Let's Players, I'm stopping in the middle of this and narrating what is happening, which is that I'm removing my socks because I'm too warm. So you needed to know that detail. Oh, Anira, what you saved, I now see, was not my life, but my heart and my overly warm feet. Back then, long, long centuries ago, I was a pirate, the only woman pirate on the open seas. They really want us to know this is her memory and not Kimes, in case you were confused. Seth Balmore, that name was known to all who plied the sea. Some spoke my name in fear and trembling, while others voiced it with deepest admiration. Mostly those who didn't know that I was an evil pirate who would murder you and steal your stuff. Some even called me the Righteous Buccaneer. Nor were they far wrong, I'd say. I was pretty righteous. The pirate ship I commanded had rules. Rules that were clear and strict. We targeted only one kind of vessel, those opulent passenger ships the wealthy boarded for pleasure cruises. Because they can't fight back. We would put a bit of a scare into the passengers, of course, maybe rough them up a little, but killing was strictly forbidden. All we did was squeeze a few drops of treasure out of the purses of those who had more money than they knew what to do with. We traded our booty for cash. Oh, that's not a thing a woman should be saying. Is that what a pirate... I mean, if you were a pirate-themed prostitute, maybe. Anyway, we traded our booty for cash with shadowy dealers, and the money we shared in the world's dens of poverty. I would cringe at being called a champion of justice, but we prided ourselves on being more than villains. This is typical fantasy writing. Like, you really are doing this Robin Hood myth where they're heroes, but you're making sure to say, well, they're not heroes because heroes are lame. I became a pirate for one simple reason. I flunked out of law school. I hated the law. Whoa, there you go. I hated the law. I didn't even see that. And I hated even more those who flaunted the law for their own self-aggrandizement. In a word, I wanted a life of freedom. So far, her memories are a lot cooler than Kimes, although they might be still going somewhere bad. Whenever I stood at the prow of a pirate ship slicing its way through the waves, I viewed the vast ocean stretched out before the clear blue sky. I felt enveloped in the joy of having taken limitless freedom in my own two hands. True, I need not traffic in the fear of death and aging known to all who count as human. And because I will neither age nor die, infinite time means for me infinite freedom. Not bad, wouldn't you say? And you are trying to convince some kind of white bird creature? Some kind of dragon or something? I would spy the ship that would be our day's quarry. I was always the first to board it, springing lightly onto their deck with a shout. I am Seth Balmore. Now be good and hand over your money and valuables. Then, taking the booty we had snatched... Snatch and booty in the same sentence. Thank you, Lost Odyssey. My men and I would raise a cry of victory and leap back into our ship. I'm trying to... Can they fit the word slot into this, or hole? I was absolutely free. Nothing stood in my way. Eternal life overflowing with freedom. Not bad, wouldn't you say? She keeps repeating that. Righteous Buccaneer. Righteous Buccaneer? What kind of fancy pants nonsense is that? How about pirate, bitch? Of course, one always hears such jealous ravings in all walks of life, but especially so in the thuggish world of pirates. Yeah, like even if you're a school teacher, you might be walking to school and someone might say to you, Righteous Buccaneer, what kind of fancy pants nonsense is that? How about school teacher, bitch? Needless to say, I knew I had enemies. Even a child would realize that being called a Righteous Buccaneer could only increase the number who hated me, among such raping and pillaging brigands as pirates of the sea. But I didn't care about that. I could be stabbed with a knife or blasted with a cannon, I still would not die. Which is weird that you can die in combat in this game. Also, I didn't care about the lives of my crew members. I took needless risks. Immortal Seth, they called me. And it was literally true, not just a figure of speech. I won't get in your way, I told the other pirates, but I won't let you get in mine either. I was afraid of nothing and no one. I lived the way I wanted to live. I lived how I want to live, play how I want to play, sing how I want to sing, say what I want to say. It's like, remember that MC Hammer's Addams Family rap? They do what they want to do, say what they want to say, live how they want to live, play how they want to play, something, the Addams Family. Hey. Those were the words, something and something. I lived the way I wanted to live, played how I wanted to play, or shouldn't have, let anyone interfere with me. Wouldn't or shouldn't or whatever. I went wrong only once, but that was all it took. In a moment of carelessness, I let them capture me. Of course, that alone was nothing for me to be afraid of. As I kept mentioning, I can never age or die. I just can't get over my immortality. It's so cool. I had it pretty good. It would have done them no good to try killing me, and they knew it. The most they could do would be to rough me up a little and threaten to make it worse for me next time. They had to do something to show their men how tough they were. They couldn't just let me horn in on the pirate game and pretend it never happened. What do you mean they couldn't do anything to you? They could have, chained you up in a cave. So, I said, hurry up with the torture, will you? I haven't got all day. We have a cave in our desert island. I was in handcuffs and leg irons and surrounded by half a dozen huge men, 20 big men, all well-known pirate captains. One of them was holding a long, thick chain. I get sick to my stomach just looking at your sweaty faces. It was her. Sorry. I get sick to my stomach just looking at your sweaty faces. Come on, hurry up and beat me with that chain. Would you rather strangle me? Whichever you choose. Hurry up and get it over with. The men laughed out loud. Hurry and get it over with, said the leader. Too bad for you, Seth, but this punishment is not the kind that can be hurried. Well, I'm just sorry we can't stay with you to the end. Yeah, chimed in another man. Unlike a monster like you, we humans don't have all the time in the world. Okay, men, let's make it fast. The lady wants. This could be getting real dark here. I'm hoping it's not. Licking his lips, the man with the chain approached me, and two others grabbed my arms from the sides. They were not going to use the chain as an instrument of torture, but to rob me of my liberty. They chained me to a gigantic boulder in the cave. They were laughing so hard they could hardly contain themselves. Okay. Yeah, this is about what I would have thought. Just what you need, eh, Seth? It's the end of the road for you. We can't shoot you. We can't stab you to death, so we'll just lock you up. We'll never come back to this island again. And even a half-baked pirate like you knows this place is not on any sea lanes. No fishing boats, even. And right about now, your men have gone off looking for the wrong island. We're the only ones who know you were brought here. Not even our crew knows where you are. No one's coming to save you, that's for sure. You'll be here forever. Can't move a muscle, you can't even die. All by yourself for the rest of eternity. With that, the men walked out of the cave, leaving me there with a single lantern. Cowards! I screamed. Don't run off like that. Don't do this to me. But the only response was the hollow echo of my own voice in the cave. The lantern the men left behind was not meant as a kindness, but rather the opposite. It was a prop in their little drama. When it finally ran out of oil and went dark, it would impress on me the weight of eternal solitude. As long as the lamp kept glowing, I was filled with rage for the men. But when the oil was running low and the flame began to flicker, a deep anxiety assaulted me. Unable to move, I stared blankly at the flame. Eternity. This world has no such thing, or perhaps it should not have. Solitude. I was always alone. Or more precisely, I always ended up alone. It was my destiny. I could be surrounded by companions whose feelings matched my own perfectly. I could share the deepest love with another, but in the end I would always have to lose them. Do you know how it feels to see countless others succumb to death while you yourself are on the road of endless life? But in your case, Anira, you do have some idea. Why do I think Anira is like a dragon or a bird? Like, was there some context clue at the beginning? Or am I half remembering something, or am I just losing it? As I watched, the lamp in the cave went out. A world of darkness spread out before me, and there I was alone. No more would I taste the sorrow of parting, but neither would I be able to taste the joy of meeting, eternally, without end, alone. I do not try shouting. People shout and scream for one reason only, because they want someone to hear them, because they believe there is someone somewhere who will hear their cries. I did, however, shed tears. Which is not to say I wept. There is no way that the immortal woman pirate Seth Balmore would ever break down and cry. A tiny tremor went through the darkness. That was all it was. And then I noticed, oh, tears are coming out of me. Really, that was all it was. The hours passed. Or perhaps it was days. In the darkness, I lost track of the flow of time. There was something else I lost track. And I'm thinking about the, it was a Mystery Science Theater episode. I think it was the first episode of the first half of the first Master Ninja episode, where there was the girl played by the Southern actress who was in Wings as the love interest, and they had a brief tag scene at the end of her episode where she was like had learned the fate of her dead brother, and she said, you know, and the character on screen says, "I'm glad I finally know the truth. I needed to." And then Crow, I think, as her says, sob, remorse. That's what I'm thinking of as I'm doing this. It's like, I'm just being perky person, talking about this terrible tragedy. It's all that left for me to do is to stay by myself, struggling against eternal solitude, incapable even of rotting away. Then what was the purpose of living in the world? Perhaps the men who trapped me here had been dead right, unable to either age or die. Perhaps I was some kind of monster. Then why was such a monster living in the world? What was I supposed to do here? I did not know that answer to that. I would never know the answer to the end of my never-ending life. I felt frustration, sorrow, but above all, fear. Eternity was frightening me. Solitude was frightening to me. I might have been trembling. Or, without even the energy for that, I might have been utterly drained. Whatever it was I was feeling, this is what happened to me. Anira, that's when you first appeared before me. Oh, Anira's our imaginary friend. A tiny burst of light softened the darkness, and from the light, almost before I could wonder what it was, there came a voice. Are you, too, trapped in the prison of solitude? Who is that? In the light, a flash of white wings. Then, with a sudden increase in size and brightness, the light seared my eyes. Accustomed to total darkness, my eyes could not stand the glare, and for an instant they could not see anything at all. Grimacing, I clapped my eyes shut before daring to open them little by little. There before me hovered a pure white glowing beast. Its white wings were breathtakingly beautiful. How beautiful you are, Anira! But yours was not a florid beauty. No, it was subtly different. Your beauty wore a cloak of loneliness.
I am like you, she said.
And when I cocked my head to look at you with puzzlement, you continued,
I've been looking for someone like you for a very long time.
You spoke slowly, majestically.
Oh, immortal woman pirate, you and I share a single destiny.
You knew who I was.
Together, let us escape from this solitude and make our way together,
you said, your eyes locked on mine. Escape from this solitude. The words continued ringing my ears, but I did not know who you were. I could not even be sure what you were, nor could I leap joyfully at the invitation of one I could not tell as friend or foe. Who are you? I asked.
I am Anira of the White-Winged Clan.
White-Winged Clan? I had heard that name before. The White-Winged Clan were said to be wondrous beasts that had become extinct in the distant past. I have heard that the White-Winged Clan died out long ago.
I am the last of the bloodline.
The only survivor,
indeed, as I said, the last. Were you deaf? You're stupid.
Which is why you speak of solitude? At that point, almost before I knew it, a weak, almost self-mocking smile crept over my face. I felt weak, self-mocking, smiles creep across your face. It's not almost before you knew it, it's before you knew it. Unless you consciously decided to make a weak, self-mocking smile, then it's going to creep over your face before you know it. I felt myself lowering my guard as I spoke to you. My chains, however, were digging even deeper into my flesh and shackling my heart as well. You used the phrase prison of solitude before. It's true. This is a prison. Being alone for eternity is a prison without bars. You nodded at these words of mine and Ira in silence, but then you said,
I was in prison too until just now.
I'm sure it's true. To be the only survivor,
I spent too long alone.
I know what you mean. In the legend, members of the White Wing clan are thought to live 1,000 years, but even if you were to live for several centuries as still a survivor, you could never meet a female member of the clan on the White Wing and hope to make children with her. The clan will never rise again. The sole survivor must live out the remainder of its days alone. And if you did find one woman, then there wouldn't be enough genetic variety, and your children would interbreed with each other and be hideous mutants and all get sick. It's true. One of the great mysteries of science was... because, you need a certain number of breeding pairs to recover a species. You can't just have one male, one female, and keep a species alive, because their children won't be able to reproduce. They can, but it's bad. So that's one of those mysteries of science. Is, how did the human species ever come about, really? There must have been a bunch of Adams and Eves. In order to conquer this unbearable loneliness... you said,
I would need someone to make her way with me.
Ooh. Then you looked hard at me and said,
Oh, pirate woman, are you not of the same mind?
I nodded in agreement. Let's get down like rabid bunnies, I said. Fuckity fuck. But then I made a point of smiling and said as casual as I could, in other words, you're lonely. Your bashful face softened and you said with some embarrassment,
I wonder.
According to legends, as I have heard it, the clan of the White Wing are proud and love their solitude. This only increased your embarrassment as you said,
Solitude has its limits, and my right hand is getting cramped.
That did it. I decided to trust you then and there. As someone who had masturbated enough to... Sorry. Well, if that's how you feel, you should come right out and say it. I want company. Company? All right, a companion.
A companion?
Exactly, so it's decided. I'll team up with you. Also, can you get me out of this eternal prison I was trapped in? If the guy was like, hey, I don't want to be friends, but, I'm just here to see what's going on, I would still say, hey, cool if you don't want to be friends, but can you let me out of this eternal prison? Then, at all hesitation, just as you saw in me one to make your way together with, I put all my trust in you. Let's go wild on the high seas, I cried.
Isn't that what make our way together means?
I thought you meant having sex. You mean that... I don't know who's talking now, because... Seth seems to say, let's go wild on the high seas. And then you would think the next line is Angel guy saying, isn't that what makes our way together means? But then the next line is, you mean that I should become a pirate? So it looks like he gets 2 lines in a row. Isn't that what make our way together means? You mean that I should be... Or no, she gets 2 lines in a row. Isn't that what make our way together means?
You mean that I should become a pirate?
You don't like the idea? You paused for the space of one breath and chuckled softly.
I've always wanted to give it a try.
No sooner were the words out of your mouth than you leapt at me. With one bite, you cut through the thick chain that held me down, because he is some kind of weird... Is he an angelic man, or is he some kind of, monster with giant mouth? Oh, wondrous beast Anira, proud descendant of the White Wing clan, this is how you and I first met. Okay, so when they said he was the White Wing clan, I thought, okay, maybe he's some kind of angel man. Because I thought she said something about him being a giant winged creature, and then I thought... Then, 2 or 3 screens in, I was like, did I make that up? I think I made that up. So then when he was a White Wing clan, I'm like, oh, he's some kind of angel person. And when he talks about running wild together, it sounded like it was sexual. But if she's a humanoid woman, which she is, and some kind of giant white bird creature came in with it, then I would be less inclined. I know I can be creepy weirdo sometimes, but I'll be less inclined to immediately think, oh, he's going in there trying to find someone to bone down with. I would have taken a little longer to get there. Anyway, that's how you and I first met, and 900 years since then, we raged over the open sea more wildly than I ever had before. When I stood at the prow of our pirate ship in search of prey, you were always there beside me. We became irreplaceable partners, friends, companions, family, and... But what about the story of how she hunted down those people who did this to her and killed them all? Yeah, whatever. The gentleman pirate, Seth. A gentlewoman pirate who only robs people who are jerks and never kills anybody, but she's a pirate because kids love pirates and people like to make entertaining product for kids about pirates. And they have to soften it so much because pirates are fucking evil monsters. So that doesn't mean they're not cool to read about and think about when you're a kid. They're not Siren Head, but...
So,
I thought you said you don't cry. In your own memory, you said that.
You're crying.
Mac.
I remembered some things from a long time ago. You mean when you were a pirate?
An ass pirate? Oh, sorry.
Did you cry?
Yes, that's what happened. Yep.
I've always been a pirate. I was crying
Because I've realized that I'm all out of pirate booty, the delicious snack. I thought she said. And now I'm not sure. Now, I can't even go back and check because I already deleted the, like, less than 30-second video that I recorded before stopping it so that I wouldn't accidentally upload it as a full episode. Anyway, Tosca Village South is where the game wants us to go. Far be it from us to not submit to the will of the game. Triple H. He is our master in all things. Alright, so... Okay. And there's silver... There are Kelolon statues, and they're involved in a minigame, and that's going to be annoying. Okay, well, this guy knows Kime.
Look, it's Kime.
I don't know or care who any of you are.
Hey, everybody! Kime's back!
Huh?
It's good to see you again, Kime. But you haven't changed a bit.
It's been 80 years for us. We're actually also very long-lived. I mean, 80 is pretty long for a human to live, but the idea being that they don't even look 80 because they're aging really slow. Slow styles. Okay. So, let's use the save sphere in case I mess anything up. Don't tell me you're leaving already. It's been so long since you last visit. Don't go just yet. Yeah, come. Nice to have you here. Things haven't changed a bit around here, don't you think? You're Kime, aren't you? My grandpa told me that you're the guy who saved our village long ago. Okay. Alright, so there's a pot. Okay, now we're just... Sorry, I'm bound to follow the rules of Draki, the Split Infinity Dork. So there's a pot with a... should have a seed in it. By the way, we are now saving all... Like, our next character. So we're getting... I don't think this is spoilers. You guys saw the save slots from the... So we're getting... I think 3 more characters before this is all over. And we can only have 5 characters, 5 people in a party at any point. So every additional party member you get from now on makes a whole lot less difference. But the next, so we got 3 party members left to get, and we currently have 6. So we're going to have a total of 9 by the end of the game. And the next character we get is one of the Immortals, and then after that we get 2 more Mortals, and that rounds out the cast. And to that end, I'm saving all the seeds for this last Immortal to show up so that I can... Because it came out fairly perfect. Like, Numara has, or Ming has like 1 more skill slot than I think the other 2. So it kind of worked out perfectly. Like, without having planned ahead particularly, I picked almost exactly the right spot to start saving all the skill. But at this point, I'm saving them all for this new Immortal because I think we should be getting her... I don't think it's that much longer before we get her, actually. I think it's the next major plot thing might be getting her. Because at this point, we're trying to get to Ura to talk to Jerk Guy. Actually, no, we're not. We're trying to go to Goatse. We're trying to go to some other country. And the only reason we want to go there is because we think we can get there. So I don't know what the story is going to want us to do with this village. But mostly it's just probably going to be emotionally impactful moments for Kime since he seems to remember the place. All right. You can't get to Gotza without traversing the cave, but with the way things are these days, sealing it off is the right thing to do. Quaker Oats. Alright, so now we have to try to cross some bridge, and that will... Although honestly, talking to Jansen won't advance the story, will it? It's an income. Looks like it's been a long... Look, it's been a long voyage. I'm sure you're tired, so why don't we call it a day here, okay? No, can't do that. Welcome, Kime. That house on the cliff side of the North Cape, that's where you and Sarah live. It's still there, you know. Sarah and Kime. Come and Sarah. Oh, Kime. Hey, you're Kime. Your grandpa told you about you, as I said before. He gave this to me as a keepsake. It's really valuable to us, but it's what you use to protect our village, right? Sphere Kime, I wanted to return it to you. Obtained magic-powered locator level 1. Hey, Kime, try it out now. I've hidden a treasure somewhere inside the village. See if you can find it. Here's a hint. It's hidden somewhere way up high. It's yours if you can find it. A treasure that's really high up lies in Tosca. Let's view the treasure hunting tutorial. Using the magic-powered locator, you'll be able to look for treasures hidden all over the world. Even though it's a treasure locator from some little kid in this remote town. But to find treasures, you must obtain information on the whereabouts of those treasures. In other words, you can't just go to where the treasure is and find it. You have to unlock it as a treasure hunt. Once you get information on a treasure, it will appear on the treasures screen within the item menu. When you have your magic-powered locator and information, there will be a glowing point on the navigation map when you enter the area with which the treasure is hidden. The treasure is hidden at the glowing point. Search for it in the nearby area. You can increase the output of the magic-powered locator, enabling you to find a lot more treasures than with the level 1 locator. Well, how would I go about improving the... whatever. Alright. It's Tranquil Tibero. I've been in sorry. I've been in my fair share of battles, but the one today, just as I was swinging my sword at someone, I suddenly thought, man, I wish I could have been a baker. I have no idea how a thought like that came to me, but after that battle, I quit the army. I've made my living baking bread ever since. Oh, fuck! I didn't want this. Alright. Okay. Alright, I guess I'm calling it a video now. This wasn't what I wanted. I wasn't warned about this one. I guess Split Infinity expects me to run from place to place doing exactly as I was told without talking to any NPCs. Because while I'm sure his walkthrough explains how to get this memory, I didn't expect it right now. So when we come back next time, we're going to get the memory of a baker. And I didn't even know he was going to be narrating a whole, or involved with the whole memory when I signed him a silly Italian voice. Thanks for watching.